Hi, this lab shows you how to launch your own instance of Node-RED using the IBM Bluemix boilerplate. You can deploy Node-RED as a standalone application, but using the Bluemix platform as a service, that means you don't need to worry about installing the Node-RED prerequisites. To do this lab, you'll need a IBM Bluemix account, which you can sign up to using the link in the documentation. Now, once you've signed up to Bluemix, you need to log in and click the Catalog button in the header to get to this page. What we'll do then is go to the boilerplates. This is just a list of all of the things that are provided as default by Bluemix. If we go to boilerplates and then choose the Node-RED starter. We're going to give our starter app a unique name. And the app name doesn't need to be the same as the host name, but they can be the same. Then we're just going to leave the rest as default and select create. Straight away the app begins to start up, but before we jump into there we're going to add some Watson services. So to do this we flick to the Connections tab and then hit Connect New. This takes us back to the catalogue where we'll be able to select Watson from the services, and we're going to choose Language Translator. Don't choose the language translation as that's been deprecated. We're just going to leave these as the defaults, and we're going to choose the standard plan, but if you want to build your own custom models, you'll need to choose the advanced plan. Whenever we add a new service to the Node-RED app, we're going to get the option to restage. Restaging means that the new service will be bound to the Node-RED app and we'll be able to use the credentials from inside Node-RED. We're going to add a couple more connections first, so we're not going to restage yet. Next, we're going to add the conversation Watson service. And again, we're just going to leave that as the defaults. We're going to use the free plan and hit create. Again, hit cancel, and we're going to add a new connection. And next we're going to add the Watson visual recognition service. Again with the default plan. Now that we've added all our services, we'll want to restage the app. So let's hit restage. If your app fails to restage, just hit the restart button. Once your app is up and running, you'll see that you've got all of your Watson services connected to your Node-RED boilerplate, and to go into the app, all we do is click the View App button. This takes you to your Node-RED homepage, which gives you some information about customizing your instance, or we can just jump straight into the flow editor. Inside the flow editor, you've got three main screens. On the left-hand side, you've got your node palette, which gives you a big selection of nodes. Then you've got your flow editor in the middle, and on the right-hand side, an info and debug tab. The info tab will give me information on any selected node, and the debug tab is used for debugging and will provide output for some of the nodes, in particular the debug node. The first thing we're going to build is a Hello World application. So simply to start with, add an inject node and a debug node. To configure these nodes, we can double click to open the config panel. Now instead of sending the timestamp on the message.payload object, we may want to send a string saying, hello, this is my first Node-RED application. And we may want to name it Hello World Inject. You see the name is now written on the node, and currently this isn't going to send its message anywhere. So we're going to link up these two nodes so that the message on this node, when we hit the button, will be passed along the wire into the debug node, and the result will be displayed on the debug panel. But we can't click this at the moment because the blue dots symbolise that the nodes have not been deployed yet and therefore will not function. So we're going to hit deploy, and then we can click our button. The message being passed along and we can see the results come out on the debug panel. The next thing we may want to do is add in a Watson service. So if we search for Watson, you can see all of these different nodes are available, but we're just going to use the language translator node. And we're going to put this right in the middle of our two nodes. And to delete a node, you can simply click it and hit delete. Now we need to configure the language translator. This should take the credentials that have been loaded up into your Bluemix boilerplate, but we can customize it. So we could say we want to use a conversational domain and we want to translate from English into Spanish. Hit done, and again we need to deploy. At the moment this is only going to show the message.payload, but if we click on the info panel while clicked on the language translator node, you can see that the full response is going to be returned on message.translation. So let's use that. And again, hit deploy. Now if we hit the inject node, we make a request and we get a response come out, where we've got translations, one translation, and the message in Spanish. Now say we want to use a different domain, such as news. Hit done, hit deploy again, and press the inject node. You can see this returns a very similar response, except with a slightly different translation. The different domains will translate different words ever so slightly differently, but sometimes you may see no difference at all. And that's the end of Lab 1. Thank you for listening.